Welcome to We Are Broomfield, Community Spotlights, where we talk about the nonprofits in Broomfield and talk with the people that make them great. I'm your host, Sam Taylor, and today we are interviewing Gina Kofel. She is the Executive Director and founder of Friends of Broomfield. How are you doing today, Gina?
Very good, Sam. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Gina, why did you feel it necessary to start an organization like Friends?
Well, as a parent of a child with developmental disabilities, I talked with other families who were looking for information, resources, and supports to help better the lives of our kids. And we came together, creating sort of a network of families, and we began to research what services were out there, where could we find information, what existed in our own community, and what work would we need to do to make sure that we did bring those resources to our community and our families. We're a very small community and they weren't readily available, so we had work to do to make sure that we got the information we needed.
Friends of Broomfield is now an adult. I mean, it's 2 decades old, it's been around, a part of the community. What were some of those growing pains that you really suffered during those years?
Well, suffering is a different word. I would say that really it was a challenge. In the beginning, we focused a lot on creating an organization where we could all come together. We created Friends of Broomfield, and families came together to create awareness in the community, to talk to our city leaders about what was needed, to research what other supports were out there, and to make sure that we had those available.
Now, I noticed your name is Friends of Broomfield, and Friends is an acronym.
Yes.
What does Friends stand for?
It stands for fun, recreation, inclusive experiences, networking, and discovering the spirit.
So basically, these are all the things you're saying that were missing in the lives of many people with disabilities, children and adults, and you were a place to find those.
Certainly in the beginning, those were the values that we identified with and what we wanted for our kids. And as we've evolved as an organization, we realized that not only did we need to support them as children and through school, but also look to the future. What would they need as adults? What part would Friends play in the future of these kids, of our kids? And what could we do to make sure that we had that next step available for them as they aged out of school at 21 years.
That's pretty amazing. What are some of these programs you've had to basically create for the Friends as they've grown up in the organization? What are these programs that help meet these needs of these people?
Well, we started obviously with a recreation and social aspect to our programs through our Friends Night Out.
Very important.
Right. Then we had created our day program because we know that once kids age out of school, there needs to be that next step so they can continue to work on the skills that they were working on in their life prior. So our day program was created and it operates Monday through Friday. Then we realized there are some of our participants and our young adults that wanted to acquire more skills to live independently. All of us want to work. We want to give back, we want to contribute, and so we had to create an employment program to help those individuals desiring to work in the community move to that next level, to get out there and to start working so that they could support themselves in an independent lifestyle. Some of the folks that are in our supported employment program are working at the ARC thrift store, they're working at iPie Pizza, they're working at Lionheart Cleaners, they're working at Old Chicago. So there's a variety of opportunities that we've been able to create because our business owners are really working in partnership with us to make sure that our participants can find employment and can be gainfully employed. IHOP, we have a hostess that works at IHOP. So it's really been an amazing surprise that we've been able to create these opportunities and that folks are out there working.
So let's talk about your financing. How does a nonprofit like this exist? You've got revenue, you've got expenses. How do those pieces work together where your revenue sources are?
It's always a challenge. In this industry of providing service, as in any human service organization, we know that the funding sources available, such as Medicaid, Social Security, don't cover the costs for these kinds of services. We estimate about 75 to 80% of the costs for providing person-centered supports is covered by Medicaid. So we have to fundraise the other 25%. And we've been able to do that because we have such a supportive community. We couldn't offer that person-centered opportunity for our participants with the variety of programs and the variety of activities. We couldn't absorb those costs unless we had a community that supported us in that, because certainly, the programs, the benefit programs that are out there don't cover those costs.
So I'm familiar with a couple of the things you do. I do know you've had some parties where you invite, larger donors possibly in here. But the one I've heard about that does seem to resonate with the community is your annual variety show. How did the variety show start? And tell me a little bit about the participants and what they think of it.
Well, the variety show is actually our very first fundraiser. And the intention was to create an event that would bring about awareness that our participants and individuals with developmental disabilities have enormous talents. It was something that we involved the community in, and over the years, more and more of our participants have become the stars of the show. And so the show is really about them. It spotlights their talents, their abilities. They are involved in all aspects of the event, from working concessions, handing out programs, participating and performing in the show itself. And it's become such an important event that we do. While we don't raise a lot of money, it certainly raises a lot of awareness, and it's something that our participants look forward to every year. And performing is something that they love, and it's definitely one of the highlights of each year.
Well, let me touch on that. You were talking about the volunteers. You need a lot of volunteers for that event. How about during your day-to-day operation? Do you rely on a lot of volunteers? I mean, some of the things people do, you need highly skilled people. You need to train them. It's not something you can just pull a volunteer off the street and plug in and say, work with this individual who has special needs. So do you have opportunities for volunteers to come in?
We do have opportunity. It is a little challenging for a couple of reasons. One is that our day program operates during working hours, so a lot of the folks that are out there working can't come during those hours of operation. Right. The other challenge is that there is some specialized training that's required, and also we like to see an ongoing commitment, because if we have volunteers sort of floating in and out of our programs, it makes it difficult for them to connect with participants and vice versa, and for them to sort of get into the rhythm of what the program and the participants need. But we certainly have had some opportunities to capitalize on some volunteers. We host the PIMA, occupational therapy assistant students twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, right, which gives them an opportunity to come in for a week. It's part of their field study, but also helps us. And we've seen some volunteers kind of come back after that, and in some cases, even employment. So we do have those opportunities. Primarily, they exist in the evening social programs.
Makes sense.
The hours are a little more conducive to work schedules. Right. It's a little less structured, but it's an absolute necessity in order to provide the person-centered support that we need in those programs. So we're always open and welcome to new folks joining us in any capacity that they wish. If they have a skill they want to share, teach a class, just be in there for support, we're open.
If somebody did want to do that, how do they get in touch? Who do they call? What's a good number, or would it be online? What's the best way for them to contact Friends?
That's a great question. I think we would first direct people to our website just to get a feel for who we are and the kinds of programs that we have.
And that would be?
And that would be www.friendsofbroomfield.org.
You mentioned that 75 to 80% of your funds come in. Does that mean the 25%, does that include the volunteers that come in, or are these strictly donations from community members or from fundraisers? Does that 25% include hours you add up for the volunteers also?
Actually, it doesn't.
So that's on top of even the shortfall you have.
Absolutely. We've done a better job over the years of really documenting what that volunteer value looks like. And it certainly is a key element to our success. But when we talk about that 25% that we need to raise in addition to the benefit reimbursement that we get, it's strictly dollars. And it comes from all across the community, individuals, corporations, etc. So no, that's strictly the dollars that we're talking about.
We did a spotlight on the Community Foundation earlier and found out that they do a lot of fundraising to distribute money. Are they one of your supporters?
They are. They have been for many years. And where they have helped us most is through the grant that funds our annual ski trip and camping trip for our participants.
Ski trip and camping trip. So it's not just getting involved in the community, there are other things. How do you do a ski trip? Where is this?
So we actually began taking our participants up to Breckenridge Outdoor Ed Center shortly after we started the day program. Many of those individuals had been involved in a ski program we started at the high school level, and we sort of carried it into the adult world. Friends works cooperatively with Broomfield High School and their special ed department, and so we do this annual ski trip up to Breckenridge. I think we've gone for 15 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so even prior to Friends starting as a program, the ski trip is open to any adult that wants to join us. We do have a limit. And we go up there for a day and we work with their volunteers, and our participants get to experience the mountains, get to experience the sport of skiing when they never thought they could. And it's a very popular activity, and we always fill up.
Well, you do this ski trip in the winter. In the summer, you mentioned a camping trip. So how does a camping trip work? And do you have volunteers for that?
So we have had some volunteers on our camping trip. We usually try to go in the May-June timeframe. We go up for 2 or 3 days, so a couple of overnights, which is can be challenging.
Yes.
We have gone to the Estes Park YMCA camp as well as Snow Mountain Ranch.
Both good places.
Yes, and we get one cabin. We usually take 5 staff, couple volunteers, and we have 20 participants that go up and spend a couple of days in the mountains. We have done horseback riding, we do nature hikes, there is a pottery station that we can do, and really it's sitting around the campfire and telling stories and just enjoying each other and being out in the wilderness.
Making popcorn and s'mores?
Absolutely, it's required.
I would imagine it is. Anytime there's a campfire, there's got to be marshmallows and s'mores.
Absolutely, yes. They won't let us forget that.
Gotcha. Are there any other particular programs that your participants just love, that it wouldn't be Friends without, something they just love? You know, something maybe, I don't know, scrapbooking, or maybe, you know, an art program, or you mentioned cooking. Mm-hmm. Are there any of those that just, you thought it might be a good idea, turned out to have overwhelming support from the participants?
I would say that the most exciting activities that they seem to enjoy are things like, obviously, karaoke, love to perform. They love cooking, love learning how to cook, also love eating.
Who doesn't?
But surprisingly too, they love the giving back class. And that is really made up of opportunities they come up with month after month or week after week, where they will choose another nonprofit, whether it's the Humane Society or whether it's Community Food Share, whether it's Fish or some other organization that they could potentially support themselves through some activity. There have been a number of those, and I think it's important for them to feel like they're also doing something to support others versus always receiving the support.
Now we're talking to Meg Yanaba, Day Program Director here at Friends of Broomfield. How you doing today, Meg?
I'm doing great.
Tell me exactly, what does the Day Program Director at Friends of Broomfield do?
As the program director, I am in charge of overseeing the largest program here at Friends of Broomfield. We currently have 45 participants. Not all of them attend 5 days a week. Some only attend 1 day a week. I attend all of their annual meetings or any team meetings to help with their Medicaid services, making sure they're on track with their funding, or any other therapy kind of meetings that need to be implemented here as well. I oversee my manager and my coordinator, as well as a team of staff. And my biggest project around this time of the month is each of our participants do get individualized calendars. So doing 45 individual calendars, some of them are picture calendars, some of them are a little bit more in depth. Takes quite a bit of my time, but it's definitely well worth it.
So what is some of this programming that you create for the participants?
Well, how our program is structured, we are a Monday through Friday program, and in the morning we have 3 activities, and in the afternoon we have 3 activities, and those change day to day as well as every 3 months. So every 3 months, when we're about to come to a new semester change, as we call them, I sit down with the participants and with the staff and my managers to say, what kind of classes do we want to offer for the next 3 months? Most of this comes from the participants. In fact, this entire semester that we're in right now was developed by the participants, where I just brought down my big planning board and they wrote on there what they wanted. With any new class, we try and focus on what the participants want to learn. What are they interested in? And we develop a class from that. So we've had electronics classes, pottery, painting, scrapbooking, bowling, swimming, cooking, volunteer work. We have a giving back class that features local organizations, and our participants develop a project for these nonprofit agencies, and then they go and deliver the project, and that's their way of giving back to the community. So no matter what you're interested in, you can find a class here, and if we don't have one, we'll make one for you.
Right now, we're in what looks like an everyday computer lab. So I take it computer classes is one of the things that you teach on a regular basis.
Absolutely. We've taught it in a couple of different ways. Over the last year, we've had a narrative journaling class that first started as pen and paper, and then we moved that to getting them on the computers, getting them a little bit more familiar with using a keyboard, mouse, Word, those kind of things. And now we have a structured computer class where they're exploring, if you have personal email and you have questions about, I don't know how to do an attachment, your staff can help you. We've also adapted that based on our participants' needs, where we did receive a fairly large donation from the Broomfield Rotary Club to enhance our computer lab, as well as to take the iPads that we have and offer more adaptive programming. One of these programs is called Pro Loco To Go, and it's a communication device that can be edited to meet your needs. So we can have it say, I want to go to Friends of Broomfield, and those kind of things. But we'll teach them how to use iPads and computers through step-by-step instructions. And one of the nice things about this computer lab is it is set up with a master station where we can put the directions on a TV screen and take them step by step. So very interactive. We're very lucky to have this.
Is there a way, people are watching this video or they maybe just finding out about Friends. Do you have a program where they can say, oh yeah, you had all this computer equipment donated, but I know it goes obsolete in a few years, where they can reach out and say, we want to sponsor a computer a year? Or somebody says, oh, you got a cooking class, we want to help, maybe a grocery store wants to help with, let me provide you with fresh produce that you can't grow yourself. Do you have a regular way people can call in or get on your website and figure out how to work those donations?
There's multiple different ways that you can become involved with Friends of Broomfield. We do have our giving structure of becoming a best friend, which is monthly or annually giving. as well as if you want to come in and volunteer, or if you're interested in learning about Friends of Broomfield, definitely give us a call. We love to have community members come in and help us out. We have a pottery class this semester actually from a community member that came in and said, hey, I've got all of these pre-made pieces. I'd love to come and teach a class. Wonderful. We've tried pottery in the past and we got the pottery wheels. Didn't work out so well. So now having the pre-made ones, they can come in, they can paint it, and they can take something home that they're really proud of. So any kind of donations with that, we're always looking for partnerships. Or if you are an organization and you're interested in becoming one of the recipients of our Giving Back class for their month-long project, definitely give us a call. We're always looking for more partners.
Oh, fantastic. Well, hopefully you'll get some calls with people looking at this at the organization of Friends.
We hope.
Okay. Well, thank you, Meg. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you, Sam.
One of the things we didn't touch on, and we've talked about developmental disabilities, we talked a little bit about physical disabilities. What are some of the ranges of the difficulties of the physical, the emotional, the cognitive disabilities some of the members have? What is the gamut of your participants? I mean, because it's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's not, which is why this is challenging work, because we do want to meet everyone where they're at and meet their individual and unique needs. Really, anyone that comes to Friends, the only requirement is that they have had a defined diagnosis for developmental disability. So we have individuals that come, like my son Joshua, who may be very mobile, but needs help with eating, with dressing, is nonverbal, and needs hand over hand with most tasks that he engages in. On the other side of the spectrum, we have individuals who are very independent, can do a lot of tasks for themselves, but may need help navigating social interactions with each other or with other members of the community. Maybe they're learning higher level skills like math equations or how to use a computer.
And these are the people you would help with the supported employment, the supported living arrangements that are involved in the community, whereas others maybe aren't at that level to be able to participate in some of those activities.
It may be true that some aren't at a level to participate independently, but certainly we believe that all individuals can participate in activities with the proper supports in place. So for example, again, Joshua works at the Arc Thrift Store. He can do that because he has that one-on-one support. So we wouldn't rule that out for anyone. We want to look at all possibilities for all people, and it starts with what their choices are.
So you don't make assumptions that you can't do this. You start with the question, can you do this?
Exactly.
And find out if they can.
Can you, and do you want to?
That's the key right there. Do you
Right
want
there.
to?
And then it's on us to figure out successful ways to support them so that they can then be successful.
What else can you tell me about Friends that the community really needs to know? Maybe even though you've been in existence for 20 years, what is it the community is missing about Friends that they should really know?
I think that we believe what makes us unique in this world of providing services is that we do look at the person first. At least we try. We're always learning. We're always open to what needs to be done, what we could do better. We're here to meet a need, so we need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's happening. We need to hear that from our participants. We need to hear it from our families and caregivers, from ourselves as staff members. But really, we just want to make an impact. We want to be something that families and individuals can depend on. We need to be here for the long haul. These are long-term care services. And we need to ensure that there is a solid future, and we need to keep building on what we're doing. We need to keep improving on what we're doing. And we need to keep connected with our community because there are so many natural supports out there for individuals, but also, the support that's needed for us as an organization. We want to keep it real, but we want to do the right thing, and we want to do well by our participants because they're choosing to be here. And we're privileged to be here for them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And trying to get the message out about Friends. It's a wonderful organization. So
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
thank you. Gina Kofel, Executive Director and founder of Friends of Broomfield. Thank you.
Thank you.